ground ball double play so he can avoid pitching to 6-time National League MVP, including the last 3 straight Barry Bonds. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Durham trying to mess with him out there at second. Another slider just off the outside corner, leaving the count at 1-1. What a year Grissom put together last year. Finally being healthy, getting an opportunity, hit right at 300, just under 80 RBIs with 20 home runs. Franklin set, checking Durham at second base. Here's the 1-1 pitch. There it is again, running that fastball on the inside corner.
And that's the key for pitchers, to make sure that you move the ball around the strike zone. You saw the pitch before that, went with a breaking ball away. Now he comes back with a sinker inside. Move the ball around the strike zone. Don't let that hitter stay in one area.
You're friends with all these Giants. You talked to every one of them before the game. Why didn't you tell Grissom he's going to throw that fastball in? Wilson gives him the sign. Franklin's set. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Another fastball just off that inside corner. Talking with Jamie Moyer earlier this spring about Ryan Franklin. He says, you know what, you got to like this guy. He's been in the organization for 12 years. Finally put it all together at the big league level. A couple of years ago, thought about going to Japan just to have an opportunity to pitch every 5th day as a starter. Well, he's got that opportunity now, and last year took advantage of it. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, hammered at third base. Spezio up with it. Not a great throw, but how about Brett Boone? Spezio learning to play a new position. He was a first baseman the last several years with the Anaheim Angels. Franklin gets the ground ball that he wanted. Knew that it should have been a double play, but without the gold glove of Brett Boone, this could have been trouble. There it is. You couldn't get any better than that. An easy throw, but look at where the throw went. Look at how quick Boone came up with it, got rid of it, and got the double play that Franklin was looking for. You don't even have to introduce this guy, do you?
Well, I think everybody knows. You can turn the TV off. Everybody knows who this is. Turn the sound down and just look at it.
You know, just talking to him before the ball game, we look at the shift now, how they're completely around on the infield. You know, we know about his natural talent, his ability, but what about how he just knows the game? There it is. Down the line, hooking off the foul pole, which in baseball means it's fair. The first home run of spring training for Barry Bonds, a 2-run shot off the top of the foul pole down the right field line. The Giants take a 2-0 lead.
Barry is just a phenomenal hitter. He understands the strike zone so well, and very seldom do you see him go outside of it. And if you don't pitch to him, he'll walk. But for the rare times that they try to come to him,
how does he keep that ball fair?
He pulls his hands in. He pulled his hands in, made sure that he was able to get the barrel of the bat on the ball. Little body language to keep it fair.
He was saying the one thing about him this year that hurts more than anything is running. And he wasn't going to run until he saw that he had to run that thing out, and he did. Here's Pedro Feliz. He's in a couple of home run spring. Hits that ball into the gap in left center field.
Let's go.
Raul Ibanez over to make the play. That'll end the inning, but not before Barry Bonds hits his first home run of the spring training. It won't be his last. Jerome Williams will be Scott Spezio. Switch hitting third baseman. Look at the numbers from a year ago. Look at the number of games played. That's the reason the Mariners were willing to give him a 3-year contract. I mean, Dave Justice, he's one of those, he's going to play.
Well, he's definitely going to play. And he's going to play third base. And he normally played a lot of first base and second base. So we'll see how the transition is for him. He's working hard over there.
Fly ball down the right field line. It's going to be a tough play for somebody. And at this point in spring training, with just a little over 2 weeks to go, I don't blame you for pulling up a little bit defensively there.
Well, that was a tough play. You see all three, the first baseman, second baseman, and right fielder all converging at the same time. Tucker's a pretty good right fielder.
Tucker, Durham, and Snow. On the left side of the infield, we mentioned Edgardo Alfonso, a late scratch. Nafi Perez to be the everyday shortstop. Bonds is out there in left. And a new catcher this year, Benito Santiago, has gone to the Kansas City Royals. A.J. Pierzynski from Minnesota to San Francisco. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Changeup. Well, when you throw in the low 90s with command, you can follow it up with a breaking ball and a changeup. That's a good combination for this kid.
Well, absolutely, and he led him off with a first pitch curveball as well. So he's doing an outstanding job of mixing in all his pitches. You talk to any pitcher, you yourself, Sutton, when you got all three of your pitches working and you can throw them for strikes, it just makes it a lot tougher for that hitter to have an idea what you're going to throw.
It gets fun. The hitter right now is Willie Bloomquist. Takes a fastball down the middle for strike one. One of the more popular guys in that Mariners clubhouse. He's a funny guy. Also very versatile once the game starts. Able to play any position on the infield. Can play the corner outfield. You get a veteran club like Seattle has, this guy can be very important. Here comes a 1-1 pitch. Driven out to the right fielder, Michael Tucker. As you mentioned, very solid defensively. And that's a very solid start to the top of the second inning. 2 outs, nobody on.
Number 9.
Oh, look at the smiles.
It's the best time of the year, isn't it? You can get so close to the players. The weather is beautiful. It's a great place here in Scottsdale to watch a baseball game.
You can get awful close to the announcers too, man.
Yeah.
I thought this was an autograph session for us.
Sut signed 1,000 autographs before the show.
We're back. Here's Quentin McCracken. Tell me about him, man. He can do some things.
Exactly. He can play all the outfield positions as well. A lot of speed. Great story on him, as you know, he's a Duke product. And when he was in high school, the coach down there went to see him play a baseball game, but first had to watch him run the 100-yard dash in his baseball uniform. He won the 100-yard dash, then he went to play a baseball game.
You know, it's Duke's time of the year, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, not for baseball.
That's right. Here comes a 2-0 pitch. McCracken working the count. Williams takes a little off, lays that fastball in on the outside corner. Here comes the pitch. He checks his swing. Now run the count to 3-1.
And you know, you need speed from your fourth outfielder, especially in that ballpark that plays so big. I think he'll get a lot of playing time. They'll spell Randy Wynn at times. They'll spell Ibanez at times. So he'll get some playing time.
Fastball catches the outside corner to run the count full. He caught their eyes back on the 13th of this month when he hit home runs from both sides of the plate. Ball game versus the Colorado Rockies. 2 outs. Here comes a 3-2 pitch just off the outside corner. A good at bat by Quentin McCracken. Williams a little bit frustrated. That's not a guy that you want to walk because, as you mentioned, of his speed. But he did. Here comes Dan Wilson to home plate. Wilson, in just less than a week, is going to turn 35 years of age. They had really hoped this spring that Ben Davis would kind of take charge and be that everyday type catcher. Up to this point, he's not done that, though. Davis just hitting 143, and I would imagine right now the plan is for Wilson to catch most of the time. Here comes the pitch.
And I'm sure the pitching staff is okay with Wilson catching a lot. I mean, he's been around that starting staff for so many years. I mean, they have a great rapport, pitcher to catcher. So defensively, I mean, he's very sound, as well as Ben Davis. But like you said, I think at some point they want Ben Davis to step forward and say, this is my job.
Yeah.
But up until at this point, he just has not done it offensively for that ball club.
Counts 0-1. McCracken takes his lead at first base. Here comes a pitch. Just off the outside corner. Now, Ben Davis, a former #1 pick of the San Diego Padres a few years ago, came over in a trade. All the tools are there. Big power hitting switch hitter. You figure at some point it's going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet this spring. Wilson up now. The pitcher spot due up next. You would expect Jerome Williams to throw some off-speed pitches here. You got that opportunity. He's set. Checking McCracken. Here comes the pitch. There's a slider. Just low. We'll run the count to 2-1.
Going. Cut in.
There's Big Ben Davis. No, that's not Ben Davis.
No, that's a look-alike. Is it look-alike day today? Look-alike day?
That's 2-1. This is once again with that breaking ball. I think the toughest position in baseball to hit is in the National League in that 8th hole. You never know when are they going to pitch to you or when are they going to pitch around you. The only guy that really knows that is the guy that's on the mound right now. You know, Dan Wilson's saying 3-1, 2 outs, a man on first. I'm not a power guy. Give me something to hit. Well, if that was a hitter behind you, I'm sure you would. We'll see what he gets now. The runner's going. Here comes a pitch. Fastball. Popped it up. Bonds is coming in. And he's got it. And Barry's feeling good. Get that first home run of spring training out of the way. We'll be back.
The great white shark, fast, powerful, equipped with a deadly razor-sharp smile. The crocodile, master of the surprise attack, stealthy and swift. Ever wonder what would happen if they met? Each week, robotic replicas test the strengths and weaknesses of our contenders. Then the data is uploaded for a virtual battle where only one reigns supreme. Animal Face-Off, Croc versus Shark, coming soon. Check your local listings. Entertain your brain on the Discovery Channel.
Learn something. So do the pitchers. Look to Moyer. Fastball just missing the inside corner.
And you know, anytime as a hitter, you have a pitcher out there who's working fast, you see he thinks he's getting his rhythm, you want to step out and take some time, you know, in between pitches to try to disrupt that rhythm. Because a lot of these pitchers, when they get that rhythm, they can be lights out.
The rhythm is there. There's a good changeup. Tucker out in front of that pitch. Wishing he had Barry Bonds behind him because he likes to hit that fastball. That's not what he got here.
Well, you're right. He's a great fastball hitter. At times, he's had trouble with off speed. Here was a changeup, actually a pretty good changeup, low out of the strike zone.
Franklin not making that same mistake here. In second inning, he did in the first by letting the leadoff guy get on. Pierzynski squares around as if to bunt.
Now we get ahead. All right, no.
Arch, it's Gary, can you hear me? How many questions?
Look defensively, pretty much straight up. A lot of movement this year with everyday catchers. David Justice, Pierzynski, one of those guys. Oh my goodness, you talk about movement. He got an off-speed pitch. Ichiro back at the warning track. Not quite enough to get out of the ballpark. Hit well. Ichiro with plenty of time to get back there. Pierzynski starting to show some of that power that he has shown in the American League with the Minnesota Twins. Not quite enough here. 2 outs, nobody on, and that will bring up Nafi Perez. Years of age. It sure seems like he's been around a lot longer than that. Nafi got an opportunity to play in 120 ball games last year. Being versatile helped that. And you know, he was always one of the popular guys last year in the clubhouse. He gets a pitch to handle, not able to do anything with it. Spezio calling off Dan Wilson. He comes in, got a much bigger glove to make that play with. He gets it. We're done with 2 innings. We'll be back in the top of the third. First pitch just off the outside corner.
1-0. He will not be doing this too much this year.
You know, it's always nice to face the opposing pitcher, but particularly when the opposing pitcher, look at this. Yeah, he's not going to be able to get up in time. Off the end of the bat, it looked like it fooled Grissom to begin with. You know, with the opposing pitcher up, he's going to be playing shallow to start with. Once he tried to get going to come in, David, I would imagine this happened to you a time or two. It looked like he slipped a little bit.
Yeah, Grissom just slipped right there, as you saw, and he was not able to recover. And you saw Franklin going down to first base laughing. But Grissom can still cover a lot of ground out there, and he still plays shallow. Always known for playing very shallow. Just slipped and wasn't able to recover.
It's an opportunity now for the Mariners to get something going offensively. This is their second hit of the afternoon. Here's Ichiro. Pitch down, just off the outside corner, 1-0. Jerome Williams has just looked outstanding today. It's hard to believe the numbers that we have seen him put up so far this spring, the way he's throwing here today. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Ichiro trying to pull it in that hole. Looks like he's going to get the runner at least to second. It's a real nice play by Ray Durham. First of all, because he was playing towards second base to try to turn the double play. He showed some tremendous range there. To me, it looks like his leg problems are behind him this spring.
Well, he showed a lot of range on this, and all he has to do is stay healthy. Ray Durham is a good defensive player. He's a heck of an offensive player. He has some pop in his stick. He can steal some bases for him. The key for him is health this year. If he's healthy, he's going to do some wonderful things at the top of this lineup.
Last year, just 110 games played. Always a high on-base percentage, that being Durham. He's already proven that today. Here's Ramon Santiago in his last at bat. He jumped on the first pitch, hitting a base hit to left field. Williams makes a little adjustment there, started him off with a changeup, but falls behind with the count 1-0. Williams 7-5 last year with an ERA of 3.30. Here comes the 1-0 pitch, another changeup.
Now see, if you're a Seattle left-hander sitting on the bench, you're really watching this at bat, because a lot of pitchers will tip how they like to pitch guys with men in scoring position. What pitch is he going to? Which pitch does he feel more comfortable throwing in this type of situation? If you're watching, you may be able to pick up something.
He picked something up. He picked up that third consecutive off-speed pitch. Picks it off the wall. Tucker comes up with it. Easily, Ryan Franklin is going to score. Equally easily, Ramon Santiago cruises into second base. He's just having a tremendous spring.
And sometimes, you can throw one too many changeups. And this was the case here. Threw two pretty good ones, and then this one, he actually got up in the strike zone. And Santiago made him pay for it.
Look at that. Even though he was out on that front leg, able to keep those hands back and has the upper body strength to hit that ball off the wall. That'll bring up Brett Boone. Just one out. Again, a man on second base. Williams checking the runner. Here comes the pitch. And just off the outside corner. You know, we were talking earlier about how with Barry Bonds, you think every time he comes up, he's going to hit a home run. And you look at how the rest of baseball has to work to get runs. You got to hit and run. You got to get a pitcher on base. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. That evens the count at 1-1.
But offensively, you want to put as much pressure on defense as you can. And if you're a team that is adept at being able to bunt guys over, if you're able to do hit and runs and things of that nature, then you're putting pressure on the defense and also giving yourself an opportunity to score runs.
Second. And I thought that was interesting listening to you two guys talk about the Yankees this year. And, you know, somebody's going to suffer in that lineup because they're a team that kind of just sits back and looks for guys to drive in runs and hit homer. There aren't really any sacrifice or hit and run type guys in that lineup.
Right. So whoever is hitting, I believe, behind A-Rod is going to suffer in terms of offensive numbers. They'll suffer because A-Rod's going to do a whole lot of driving in the runs, which means there are not going to be as many opportunities for Giambi and for Sheffield. So the few opportunities that they get, if they want to drive in 100 runs this year, they're going to have to produce in those few times.
They're going to be coming up with a lot of time, nobody on base because of a home run by A-Rod. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. There's the new Brett Boone. Now that used to be a three-swinger throughout the at-bat. Has cut down on that swing because he has cut down on his stride. Much more difficult now to get out. And, you know, he's not going to hit the home runs, but he's still strong enough. He's still a power type hitter with this stance. It's just more of a gap power type power. Here comes the 1-2 pitch again. Oh, boy. He has got the off-speed pitch going right now. Brett Boone, for the second time in a row, goes down swinging.
And as we spoke earlier, Jerome Williams says he's going to work on his changeup today. And this is a pretty good changeup that he's able to get him to swing over.
See that stance? You see the lack of really a big stride. but yet still not able to stay back as Santiago did on that changeup and put it in play.
And the difference between the two changeups, though, was that one was down. The one to Santiago, he hung.
Here comes Raul Ibanez after his second and back. The fly ball to center field. Grissom able to keep his feet underneath him. He makes the play. That'll be the third out. That ends the top of the third inning for the Seattle Mariners. Coming up will be the San Francisco Giants. San Francisco Giants is Jerome Williams, starting pitcher for Felipe Alou's team. One of the starting pitchers. There's strike two.
I make a pitch now. Don't make a favor.
The number one starting pitcher. And really an important factor as far as their season is concerned is Jason Schmidt. Rob Nin, another one of those question marks. Both of them having off-season surgeries. Here comes the pitch. Another slider. That's strike three. Let's go down to Gary Miller for more on Jason Schmidt.
All right, thanks a lot, Seth. And, you know, he just mentioned it there, Jason. You go through a season, if Gagne isn't perfect, you're the Cy Young winner. You throw a shutout in the playoffs, and then you go to have surgery in October. How you feeling this spring?
Feeling really good. I didn't expect it. I came out of the surgery feeling outstanding, waiting for something to hurt at some time, and it's been great so far. It really has.
It has. The stats haven't been great. What are you working on this spring? I mean, how much of a reflection of that is trying to get back from the elbow surgery and just a normal spring?
Well, basically, I'm just trying to go out and throw strikes and not favor the elbow. And that's the hardest part. You get out there and your command's off. You have a hard time keeping the ball down. And I think the velocity's down a little bit, so you're trying to compensate for that. And you got a lot of things going through your head. And you didn't have a good spring last year either, so I'm hoping that's maybe a good sign.
Any fear at all when you throw?
Not too bad. I think the biggest thing is just worrying about if I'm going to be able to throw strikes consistently and keep the ball down. Like I said, I'm keeping the ball up all the time, and it's just getting that, fear factor, I guess, out of my mind a little bit.
He's scheduled to be the opening day starter. Let's hope he's on course. Rick, back to you.
Thank you. You know the Giants hope for that. They're going to open in Houston against the Astros. Two of the three starters they're going to face there. We look at Brett Tomko. For the Astros are going to be Andy Pettitte and Roger Clemens. Then they go to San Diego for opening day at Petco Ballpark, and they've got David Boomer Wells waiting on them. So a little Yankee connection. There's a pitch from Franklin, 2-2. Let's take a look at the rest of that rotation for the San Francisco Giants.
Right here, make a pitch.
Well, this is a rotation that must stay healthy. Jason Schmidt especially. You know, you look at spring training, you don't worry about his numbers in spring training. The key that you want with him is make sure that he is healthy on opening day. Because his numbers during the season, they speak for themselves. He's a proven number one now. He's a solid number one. This staff needs to remain healthy. And they don't have to throw 9. You know, they have a pretty good bullpen. They just need to give you 5 or 6 solid innings, then hand it over to Felix Rodriguez, Jim Brower. At the start of the season, and maybe Matt Herges, that's the closer. I think they're going to nurse Rob Nia, not going to rush him. He may be able to start the season, but he may not start as the closer. They may take their time, and Matt Herges is the number one pick to be the closer if he's not available, Nin, that is, to start the season, as he's checking out the
media guide action there. It's always fun to look at, see how many pages you can compile. I don't know why he's looking at the Mariners.
Well, I tell you, it was very positive what he did a few days ago in his outing. I think he threw a side session.
And then he threw yesterday to some big league hitters and reported he said normal stiffness and soreness this morning when he got to the ballpark.
So you know he can't wait to get out there in a game situation, especially with having not pitched for quite some time now. But they're not going to rush him. No need to rush him. It's a long season.
After a base on balls to Ray Durham, JT Snow once again up with a runner and scoring on base. Same runner was Durham back in the first inning. He eventually scored the first run, home run by Barry Bonds. 1 out.
Exactly.
Grissom again this afternoon. Grissom in the first inning
Now, baby,
hit a
stop
ground
out
ball
there now.
to third base, which was turned into a double play. A nice turn by the Gold Glove second baseman Brett Boone. We'll see if he makes an adjustment here against Ryan Franklin. 2 men on, 1 out. Giants ahead 2-1, trying to add to that. Just about did.
Man.
Well, there he is. So what does that tell you if you're Marquis Grissom, Dave Justice? You're not going to walk?
Well, it basically tells you you're going to get pitches to hit.
Like that hanging
It's
slider?
a beautiful
All right,
place to be in a lineup in front of Barry Bonds. Because I'm always thinking, pitcher has 2 eyes. That left eye is on the on-deck circle, and the right eye is on the catcher's mitt.
There it is. That ball hit right at the shortstop. Boone easily with the double play. 14 times last year, Marquis Grissom grounded into a double play. He's already done it twice this afternoon. We'll be back for the top of the 4th. The Giants, Scott Spezio from the Angels, Ibanez from the Royals. Randy Wynn came over a couple of years ago. Ichiro's been out there the last 3 years. Jamie Moyer, at 40 years of age, a 21-game winner. You look at the innings pitched. The one thing that jumps out at me is there is a tremendous amount of defense behind Jamie Moyer out there, David.
Well, in order for a team to be successful, it all starts with your pitching staff. But at that stadium, because it's so spacious, you must have a solid defense behind you. Now, personally, I don't know if they can cover as much ground in that outfield this year as they were able to cover last year. Randy Wynn in left, Mike Cameron in center, Ichiro in right. There's not a lot of balls falling out there. Ibanez is okay in left, but he doesn't have the foot speed that a Randy Wynn playing left field has. So you may lose a step here and there in that spacious outfield, but what he gives you offensively may make up for that because he's more of a consistent hitter than Mike Cameron is. More power, more RBIs. So, you know, it's a give and take in this game.
Well, that's Scott Spezio taking that 0-1 pitch off the inside corner. I agree with you, Bo. When you think about defensively what Seattle has had in center field the last 15 years, there's a drive down the right field line. Tucker not going to be able to get to it until it bounces once. Take a look at this. We're going to have a play. Spezio just ahead of the strong throw from Michael Tucker. The Giants with a 2-1 lead, but the Seattle Mariners keep wanting to say Angels with Spezio. Been such a big player and was so important to the Angels when they won the World Championship just a couple of years ago. All of those RBIs, and well, what an average he had with runners in scoring position, which is exactly where he stands right now as Willie Bloomquist comes up for his second at bat.
Now here's an opportunity for Bloomquist to do the ABCs of the game. Get him over to third, you know, with 1 out. Give yourself up. Like that, yeah, which he's trying to do. That's good. I mean, you want to work on those type of things in spring training, because if you start doing them down here, they'll carry over into the season. Because so many times during the season, when you're trying to manufacture runs, you know, these are big moments right here that you cannot let these opportunities pass.
Williams ahead in the count, 0-1. Checks the runner at second. Like a little change up on the inside part of the plate. That's a real tough pitch to try to hit to the opposite field.
Now, son, as a pitcher, would you throw more inside in a situation like this because you know the hitter's trying to go the other way?
To begin with, I would probably go hard away because I know he's trying to stay back to hit it in that direction. And if I can throw hard, got a little bloop line drive right at Ray Durham. A good effort on the part of Bloomquist, but not the result that he was looking for. The reason I say that is because if you throw as hard as Williams does, most hitters, by staying back, aren't able to keep the ball fair. You know what I mean? They're going to hit it hard down that right field line, but if you have enough velocity, they can't keep it fair. You can get ahead in the count.
Okay.
1 out. Man on second. Quentin McCracken coming up to home plate here for his second at bat. Nice piece of pitching there on the part of 22-year-old Jerome Williams. First pitch just off the outside corner. McCracken to be followed by Dan Wilson. And you know that as a pitcher, particularly in the National League. You know after Wilson, that starting pitcher is coming up again. You can be careful. You have a base open here. There's another changeup. Really a good pitch on the part of Jerome Williams. Just beyond the top of the hour here. Beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. What a perfect day. Obvious reasons why there are so many people at the ballpark here today. Along with that, Barry Bonds. Seems like every home run he hits now is important. That probably means a little bit more to him than some of the other spring training home runs. It's the first one that he's had this year. Here comes the pitch. Another good changeup.
And you know, we got Gary Miller running around the stands somewhere. You know, I'm happy to be here with you, Sut.
Gary Miller always seems to find those concession stands too. He always coming up with, you know, whatever it is they're featuring that day, he'll find it. But we know what Jerome Williams is featuring today, and that is an outstanding changeup. One out, man on second base. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Yeah. Just misses that outside corner. Even at 2-2. Pierzynski moves to the outside corner. That's where the pitch was. Change up one more time. And Kraken making a nice little adjustment to get a piece of that. 2 weeks to go in spring training, David Justice, as we look at Dave Righetti. What are you trying to do as an everyday player?
Well, as an everyday player, at this point in time, your hands are in shape. And you're pretty much in pretty good shape. Now you want to start focusing on having a game plan in each and every at-bat. You may want to just swing at hard stuff. Or you may say, you know, I'm not going to swing at a curveball until 2 strikes today. Just work on particular game plans so that once the season starts, you know, you got your A game ready to go. Because at this time, right now, your hands, they're fine. Your legs, everything should be fine for these hitters. It's now starting to getting to just the mental preparation.
2-2 pitch fouled off once again. You were talking last week how the first couple of weeks of spring training, you didn't want to swing at the first pitch. You wanted to start tracking the baseball. Is that what you said?
See, the first week of spring training, you're just coming from your hometown, whether you're in the Northeast, it's cold up there, you hadn't seen no pitching. So what it is you want to get out here and get your eyes acclimated, reacclimated to seeing pitches. You don't want in the first week swinging at the first thing you see.
So you're basically setting people up, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Speaking of a setup piece, that ball is driven. No way Grissom's going to get to that. McCracken easily with 2. Spezio will easily score. McCracken wanting 3, and he's able to get it. Quentin McCracken with a 1-out triple drives in Scott Spezio. That will tie up the ball game. Fastball inside corner. Always been a good fastball hitter, hasn't he?
And Grissom was playing him the other way, so he had a lot of room out there for this ball to land. And McCracken showed his speed getting all the way to third base.
Hey, is there anybody in Bristol right now? Huh? Dan Patrick keeps bugging us. He's standing behind us here. You got the show going now? We got a spare headset here. Come on. You know the routine. Don't get nervous now, okay? Try to relax a little bit. What happened there? I'm doing my play debut. You tell me.
That's a knock into the corner. That's got 2 written all over it here. I just came over to get on TV. I'm doing radio. The next moved over. I figured I saw you 2 ugly mugs, so.
Well, for all of you at home that don't know what Dan Patrick looks like, here he is.
Yeah, you know what? I don't have to wear that suit and tie.
Hey, we have a dress code around. We don't need, you know, the TPC at Scottsdale. They don't need any more promotion.
I'm just glad he didn't bring Dibs over here. Dibs over there almost naked.
We couldn't fit Dibs in here. Dibs was too big to fit in the booth.
The radio guys, they have no wardrobe, you know, rules, so they'll wear anything, and Dibs is definitely doing it over there.
I got to do the, there's Dibble. Look how big that pumpkin face is there. That's the former nasty boy right there. Well, he's still nasty. Just nothing to do with pitches. Did you hear me on the public address announcing when Bonds homered?
I missed that.
That was me.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Well, give me your call. Can you recreate that one more time?
Batting 4th, the left fielder, number 25, and the reigning National League MVP, Barry Bonds. And then he homered for me.
You know, we might have finally found something that you can do, huh? Here we go.
Okay,
here's the pitch.
Now he leans For me, he makes an acknowledgement up to the booth.
Yeah.
It's a quick little glance and an acknowledgement, and then he tipped his cap. So I'm gonna announce him next inning.
I've seen that same lean out of you when you hit your driver, trying to keep it in the fairway.
All right, I have to go do some work.
No, we're on camera one more time. We're trying to get you
Dan,
something.
one more time for all those people at home that listen to you.
They
want
just wanted to see the legs.
Are you still on the 6 o'clock sports?
Yes,
Center,
I
or are you
am.
on the 10? Now, what hairdo are we going with now? What do we got now? Oh,
That's Dan Patrick, folks.
Spring look. Thank you. See you guys.
that's a good one, brother.
See you later.
That's great, man. What happened? Oh, we got Ichiro up now.
What's the
We
matter?
got strike one. All of a sudden, with all the excitement, the Mariners took the lead there. A double to start the inning off by Spezio. A triple by McCracken. A double by Dan Wilson. The second out was Ryan Franklin. There we go.
Now he's going back to his job.
Well, and he's the public address guy too, huh?
Yeah, they have a great show though, that
Oh,
ESPN
yeah,
radio show with him and Rob Dillon.
Look at that. Good morning. Good afternoon. Actually, it's a great afternoon. We'll be right back. Leading off the bottom of the 4th inning. Don't miss it. Barry Bonds.
NBA Sunday on ABC.
At the bottom of the 4th is a guy who could get that one run back as quick as anybody in baseball, Barry Bonds. Infield shifting over to try to protect for the pull if anything's on the infield. Barry steps out of the box just to kind of regroup. Right there at the end, he saw Santiago running. Maybe that's a good strategy. Have the shortstop just run behind the pitcher there as he's getting ready to throw it. An off-speed pitch just off the outside corner, ball one. Nobody at the concession stand right now. This is what you buy a ticket for, isn't it?
Exactly. I always say, never go to the restroom or go get something to eat when you got the stars in here. That's who you came to see.
Well, this is the biggest star we have right now. Just off the inside corner.
It's just amazing the discipline that Barry Bonds actually has. Very seldom do you see him go out of the strike zone. Such an outstanding eye and such a tremendous knowledge of the strike zone.
Let's take a look at what happened earlier. If you missed it, first of all, why? Second of all, Barry Bonds didn't miss it. Right down the line off the top of the foul pole. An early 2-0 lead with the first spring training home run for Barry Bonds. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Oh, good changeup. That didn't happen very often.
I tell you, that's a tremendous pitch. And if Ryan Franklin can work that pitch into his repertoire this year, he'll be very successful.
Wilson behind the plate. Moving in. Oh, moving out. It's almost comical, and that's hard to say being a former pitcher. That ball was hit at least 480 feet.
I lost it. Well, I guess Ryan Franklin thought he was looking for a changeup again. He was able to get Barry to change the 3-1 changeup. And he tries to come back and challenge him with a fastball inside, and Barry didn't miss it. And I think everyone in the stadium, as well as 4 or 5 blocks down the street, know that that's a home run.
There's Pedro Feliz. You know, you mentioned it earlier in his first at bat. It's like most people can't keep that ball fair, but he brings his hands in, as you said. He keeps, you know, the knob of the bat. He keeps his hand inside that baseball, even though he's pulling the baseball as good as anybody that's ever done it. There's a ground ball to short. Santiago up with it over the Bloomquist, and that's the first out of the inning. So now's the time you go to the concession and use the restroom or whatever.
But you know what's great about spring training here is he'll get pitched to in spring training because guys know it doesn't really matter.
Really?
Yeah, but come season time.
He's had 6 games, 10 at bats. He's been walked 5 times.
Well, Ryan Franklin didn't get the memo then. Or maybe he wasn't watching enough Sports Center last year that you don't pitch to Barry Bonds.
Ryan Franklin said, I'm glad I'm in the American League, brother. You have all the fun you want over there in the NL. There's a guy that would be familiar with Ryan Franklin, Michael Tucker, the Kansas City Royals last year at 262, 55 RBIs, 13 home runs in just over 100 games. This guy, I thought, was a real big pickup by general manager Brian Sabian, just because of the age of Barry Bonds and Grissom. They're not going to play every day. You know that. You need somebody that can go out there and produce. He's one of those guys.
And he definitely can play all three outfield positions. So he's definitely an asset to this ball club. As well as he's still a pretty good hitter. He can drive the ball. He has some pop still in his bat. I think he'll work out fine for him.
The guy they picked up last year, re-signed over the winter, was Jeffrey Hammonds. He broke his right thumb. He was hit by a pitch the other day. They don't expect him back till at the earliest around the middle of May. So Tucker becomes even more important. Not important here in the bottom of the fourth inning, though. It's like a backdoor slider called strike 3 on the outside corner. After the quick home run by Barry Bonds, 2 quick outs here by Ryan Franklin.
And I talked to A.J. Pierzynski as he steps in about the transition from the American League to the National League and learning all the pitchers on the staff. He said, quite frankly, it's been very tough because you don't play every day as a catcher. And it's been tough for him, but he said, you know, it's constant communication daily with the pitching staff. But you could read it on his face that, you know, he senses that's going to be tough.
Such a big part of that Minnesota Twins ball club that turned it around a couple of years ago, getting themselves back to the postseason. Now you not only got to learn a new league, you got to learn a new staff as well. Ground ball in the hole. Nice play. Comes up with it in the dirt. Bloomquist comes up with that. That's the third out of the inning here in the bottom of the fourth, but not before. Barry Bonds, he's done it 658 times during the regular season. He did it in the first inning. He did it again in the fourth inning. He's going to have another at-bat here this afternoon.
It was a night like any other, till something caught.
Seattle Mariners with 3 runs. Barry Bonds has accounted for all 3 runs for the San Francisco Giants. Out in left field now, replacing Barry, is Todd Linden. Leading off for Seattle, Ramon Santiago, already having a good day. An RBI double, a single. With a changeup by Jerome Williams as he starts the top of the 5th inning for his day. Santiago came over in that Carlos Guillen trade as he takes a pitch here. With the Detroit Tigers, with the Tigers in the big leagues the last couple of years, just 24 years of age. Here comes a 1-1 pitch. Another good changeup. Santiago out in front. Rich Aurelius is going to be the everyday shortstop, but Rich Aurelius has been hampered the last couple of years by injuries. When he's healthy, he's one of the better shortstops in the game. But when he's not, Santiago's a guy that can fill in. There's a ground ball. That's not where you want to hit a ground ball on a day like this with JT Snow down there at first base. Easily 1 out.
Second baseman, number 29, Brett Boone.
That'll bring up Brett Boone. He used to be followed by Raul Ibanez. Right now, David, I mean, you talked about it earlier, getting your timing down, your hands are in shape. I mean, how many, you play 7 days a week down here, you play every day. How many days a week would you prefer to play? How many at-bats per day do you prefer to get?
Well, I think for an everyday player, 50 at-bats is a good range. And it actually depends on the organization. Some organizations like the Braves, we would only get 50. But when I played with Cleveland, it would seem like we were trying to, you know, set the record for most ABs in a spring training season. So, you know, actually I'd say 50 for an everyday player is enough, because when they're not playing in the game, they're down in the cages, you know, getting swings, hitting off coaches. So you only need 50 at-bats just to get your eyes reacclimated to seeing the fastball, changeup, and slider, and then you're ready to roll.
You try to get most of them in the spring training?
Definitely.
More so than the beginning?
Definitely. By the last week of spring training, you want to be playing every day. And I used to always want to start my season the last week of spring training in terms of just mentally getting prepared for each of the last, say, 7 spring training games? I'm treating as I would if it were at the start of the regular season.
Tough play there on Felice. The ball hit by Brett Boone. Hey, guess what? Is he there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Hey, Barry, what's happening? You know who's up here. David, Sut. Congratulations, man. It had to feel good to get something to hit for once, huh?
Oh, it's all right. It's spring training. You know, everybody's trying to work on things, and you know, I'm starting to come around a little bit. My swing's looking a little bit better. But, you know, I don't take anything for that. You know, pitchers are working on certain pitches, trying to do things, and, you know, really speed up the game in spring training so we don't have to stay out here so long.
Hey, Barry, what do you think is the key for the Giants this year to be as successful as they were last year?
Well, our rookie pitchers, I think, is a key for us. I mean, I think they did a great job last year under the circumstances, and just going to be determined on how they come back this year. I mean, they got a year underneath their belt. They should be confident. They should know what to do, and they should prepare themselves. That's going to be the key for us is our starting pitching.
Barry, in light of everything that's happened this spring, how have you been able to stay so focused?
You know, Rick, I got this philosophy. Whatever problems are there, they're always going to be there. So I use baseball as a relaxation to, you know, get away from it for a little while. And I don't really worry about it too much because there's really nothing you can do about it. You know, the people that know me know the truth. The people that don't, I just don't try to explain it to them. It's just really not worth it.
Physically, you were saying earlier that everything's fine except the running part of it. It gets a little bit tougher as you've gotten older. That's really hard on me. You know, my legs are a little bit slower. You know, it looks like second base gets further and further away when I'm on first. And, you know, I think the hardest part of it is just the preparation. I mean, as you get older, you know, Rick more than anyone, and Dave yourself, you know, it's more the preparation. The game isn't difficult. It's just, you know, trying to get yourself ready for each and every day. How do you prepare yourself to go up there and be pitched around all the time, though? I mean, batting practice has to be kind of the highlight of your day. Even in spring training, you've already been walked 5 times in 6 games. Well, I think the 2001 season was the best mindset for me when I was being intentionally walked pretty much the most at that time. And, you know, I had the opportunity to have my son with me every single game at that time. And, you know, my son was upset and my daughters were upset, and they're all, you know, saying it's not fair, Daddy. And, you know, having the opportunity to explain the game of baseball to my son like my father did to me, I think that really eased up everything for me during that time. And it gave me a sense of, you know, there's other aspects of the game of baseball. You know, if they walk me, so what? I'm a base runner. My job is to score runs.
Hey, Barry, you've hit third majority of your career. Now you're going to be hitting fourth this year. Was it a tough sale to Felipe Alou to allow you to hit fourth?
No, it wasn't. I came in there and I went up to him and I said, you know, what do you think about me hitting fourth? I think it's a better situation. And Felipe said, I already talked to the coaches about it today. You know, I just think in the situation in the circumstances is, you know, if the first guy gets on, the second guy gets out, their number 3 guy still has opportunity. If he gets a hit, then you got 2 men on base with the opportunity of me. If they do decide to walk me, you give our number 5 hitter opportunity to drive in 2 runs instead of 1. And I think it just gives us a better opportunity to score more runs in that side with me hitting fourth.
Barry, with all of the tremendous records that you continue to pile up, we'll take a look here at a triple, a run scored. Seattle once again with the lead. I know after what happened a couple of years ago against the Angels and the fun that you had in the postseason, particularly in the World Series, that's got to be the goal at the top of your list.
Oh, definitely, Rick. I mean, there's not a doubt. Everyone wants to go to the World Series again and have the opportunity to win. No one knows that more than Dave. I mean, he's probably been in more World Series than anyone. You know, but, you know, and it's a great feeling.
Oh, yeah, he keeps throwing this ring at me, too, man. I don't even know which one it is.
Yeah, you know, it's a great feeling. You know, guys, if I don't ever get back, I've had that opportunity to experience it. It was a great experience. I think we did a great job. I just think Anaheim Angels was just their time at that time. And, you know, I told everyone it's the underdogs year. Tampa Bay won, Anaheim won, and, you know, all the underdogs beat everybody. And it was a great series. I had a great time, and, you know, hopefully I'll get back.
Hey, Barry, both of us want to thank you tremendously for taking time to be with us. We'll see you later on tonight at Charles Barkley's party, all right?
You got it, guys.
All right, Barry. See you, man.
All right, good luck, guys. Thanks.
There's a guy that knows a little bit about that World Series as well. Scott Spezio with a big home run in that Game 6 when it looked like the Giants were going to have rings themselves. Infield in here. Williams getting extended a little bit in his outing. This is where you start building up that stamina. Let's take a look. Let's go back to Game 6 of the 2002 World Series. Scott Spiezio
gets a
Felix
low
Rodriguez on the mound. Yeah?
Yeah. Low fastball.
7th inning. Angels win Game 6, and then as we all know, eventually went on to win Game 7. That's when I started believing in that rally monkey.
I'll tell you, well, I started believing a lot earlier than that because I was playing against the Angels so much that year, and to see them come back against us with Oakland. But that home run was unbelievable. You could just totally feel all the momentum just swing, especially when everyone, I believe everyone watching, really thought San Francisco had it in the bag.
You know, that's really when he became a hitter that year. And Mickey Hatcher, the great hitting coach for them, as we look at, there you go. He got a good pitch to hit, lined it into the gap. Going to be another extra base hit here in the top of the 5th inning for the Seattle Mariners. But Mickey was talking about what made Spiezio successful was that he finally started taking a base on ball. What do you mean by that?
Well, is what he's saying is, and this is what Bonds does tremendously well, is if the pitcher's not going to pitch to you, you cannot go outside of your strike zone. And then, because if you do that, you're going to help the pitcher out and you're going to make outs. As a hitter, as long as you stay within the strike zone, you're going to get pitches that you can handle. A lot of hitters get themselves out because we chase balls out of strike zone. You chase the ball in the dirt. You chase balls up around the letters that are not strikes. If you watch a hitter and you see that he's consistently hitting the ball well, if you're able to look at the pitch, his pitch selection and what he's swinging at, you'll see that the majority of those pitches are right around the middle of the plate.
Well, too many pitches in this inning in the middle of the plate by Jerome. Top of the 5th inning continues. Seattle Mariners still hitting. They're going to try to hit now off 27-year-old Tyler Walker. First pitch to Willie Bloomquist is a swing and a miss. You look at the numbers last year at Toledo. Got a guy, David Justice, that was born in San Francisco. He graduated from San Francisco High School, then he gets drafted by the New York Mets. Finally back home in San Francisco. Fastball up and away. Tucker looks to be able to run this down at the warning track. He does that. The runner will advance to 3rd base. And that's the 2nd out of the inning here in the top of the 5th. Coming up now will be Quentin McCracken. A switch hitter. Been on base both times. He scored a run in the 4th inning with a triple. He also drove in a run in that same 4th inning, trying to do that again here. Walker 6'3", 230 pounds. Always a starting pitcher throughout his minor league career. Seeing a good fastball there for strike 1. You know, you never know. I mean, something might happen to a Jason Schmidt. Kirk Reeder had some shoulder problems last year, still able to win 10 games. One of those guys goes down. Here's a little bit of that depth that might be provided. Pop-up over towards the rail. Pierzynski backs off. Feliz makes the play. That'll end the top of the 5th, but not before the Mariners take the lead 5-3.
You pound it. MVP Baseball 2004. Rated E for everyone. EA Sports. It's in a game.
It's hard to believe there's a whole movie on this thing. Just one. This guy gives me up to 60 pay-per-view titles a month, and I don't even have to leave the room to get them. Like this one, for instance.
The movie hailed as the most delightful surprise of the year. Lost in Translation. Now, the winner of 3 Golden Globes, including Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy, Best Actor, Musical or Comedy, Bill Murray, and Best Screenplay.
You think they'd ever put a second movie on side B?
DirecTV pay-per-view. Entertainment has never been so convenient.
Are you ready for what's next?
Britney Spears, live from Miami, Sunday, March 28th at 9, only on Showtime. Order Showtime Unlimited now and get a $25 gift card from the store for Britney and more, FYE, for your entertainment.
By Miller High Life. Brought to you by Subaru. Visit your local Subaru dealer today for great deals during the Subaru All-Wheel Drive Away.
As expected, a lot of changes around the 5th and 6th inning for both ball clubs. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Ryan Franklin on to work hopefully his 5th inning. Shaky 1st inning. Really, he's had no problems at all with the San Francisco Giants with the exception of Barry Bonds.
I mean, he's doing a good job. I never seen this many changeups from him, but it seems to be a pitch he's working on. And I was saying earlier, if he can add that pitch to his repertoire, he's got a pretty good sinker. He's got a good slider. If he can work that changeup in and gives himself, 3 pitches, 3 quality pitches, it will only help him to be more successful this year.
3-0. You wonder right now if that long top of the 5th inning is going to have an effect on him. A lot of times you just stiffen up. You get into that rhythm as a pitcher. You're going out there every 6-7 minutes. You sit down. You love getting the runs, but right along with getting the runs, sometimes home plate starts to move around on you a little bit. There's a walk to Nefi Perez. A new second baseman, Luis Ugueto. At third base, one of their top young prospects. Boy, are they high on this guy. Jose Lopez can play anywhere on the infield. They project him as an everyday shortstop at some point in the not too distant future. Tyler Walker, who we saw come on to pitch and get the final 2 outs in the top of the 5th, will be up there, I would imagine, to lay down a bunt here in the bottom of the 5th. Quick throw over to first base. You kind of go through the motions your first 3 or 4 starts in spring training, but David, right now is when managers even start managing a little bit. That throw over, I'm sure, was called for from the bench just to see if Walker would tip his hand, whether he was going to bunt or not. There it is. You throw a strike, you either get an easy out or you get an easy first strike.
Right, you start working on the little things in the game that you know that you're going to need over 162 games to be successful as a team. We were talking about Franklin earlier, and I wonder at this point in this game if fatigue is playing a factor, because you saw Jerome Williams start to appear as if he was tiring.
Yep.
And at this time of spring training, pitchers not ready yet, are they?
No, they're not. Look at here. He wasn't ready to get rid of that ball. He barely just got it away in time. Fans aren't real happy about that. Nefi Perez just not quite able to beat the throw, in the opinion of the second base umpire. Take a look at it here. There's the bunt. Not a real good one. You see Franklin get off in a hurry. Now the problem to me was that he went down there with just the glove and not the second hand. If you stay low, you come up with that throw, you got the ball in your hand, it's much easier to make that exchange. But he was able to get it done in time. And that's always big too, because you keep the pitcher on base at first base. He's going to block things up. It's more difficult to score a run. There's a ball in the gap. Good jump on the part of Ibanez. What a nice play. And take a look at our pitcher here. He thinks he can stand on second. Sorry, Tyler, you need to get back to first, buddy. They just don't get out there that often, David.
They just don't make pitchers like they used to, son.
All right, that's the bottom of the 5th inning. It's still 5-3 Seattle.
He can hit anything.
They pitch it, you pound it. MVP Baseball 2004. Rated E for everyone. Crush it online only with PlayStation 2. EA Sports. It's in a game.
These safety goggles not only protect your eyes, they help you see in the dark. An innovative tool for every project. Ideas for the good life. Craftsman. Only
5-3, the Seattle Mariners lead the San Francisco Giants. And let's take a moment and talk to the leader of those Seattle Mariners, their manager, Bob Melvin. Bob, everything going well this spring for you?
So far, so good. Our health's getting a lot better. We're going to get Aurelia back tomorrow. And the good news is Soriano's probably one bullpen away from being in a game, so that's all a relief to us.
In your first year as a manager with the Seattle Mariners, you guys won 93 ball games, but that wasn't enough. Is that going to be enough this year in that tough American League West?
Well, you don't want to handicap it as far as games go, but 93 is tough to swallow when there are 3 other teams that were in the playoffs with less wins than us. But it is what it is, and we're in that tough division, and it's probably going to be tough again this year.
Hey, Bob, we're watching Ramon Santiago as well as Quinn McCracken have a pretty good game today. How do they factor into the equation this year?
Well, Q's going to pick up everybody in the outfield. That's what we brought him in here for. And Ramon's a guy that I didn't know a whole lot about, but I'll tell you what, every game he plays here, he gets our attention a little bit further. I think he's hitting right around 500 this spring, and on base even more than that. Natural shortstop with a good throwing arm, and the more he's up there, the more impressed we are with him. Can I give a sign here in a minute? David, let him hit. Let him hit.
So we're not going to bunt, huh?
No, we got a pinch hitter here.
Okay, who's
Frank
your pinch hitter?
Mr. DeLucci, we got a kid coming from the minor league camp today. Can't have too many kids when you're in a National League game.
Come on now.
Don't want to mess this thing up over here, so we have plenty of these guys over here today.
Bob, you couldn't get him a better number than that, 93?
That's not my job description. You can talk to Ted Walsh maybe next time. I'm sure he's happy just to have the uniform on.
Bob, how has the hitters taken to Paul Muller?
Oh, he's been great. He's a guy that obviously gets instant respect before he even walks in the door. Knows everything from breaking down a swing with the younger guys to all the intricate stuff with Edgar and Booney and these guys. So he comes as advertised, if not even better. You got it for a little while. Sorry about that. I was talking to my third base coach. You guys are taking me away from my game.
Well, you guys have been right on top of your game all of spring training. You're leading the Cactus League with a .310 average. You got to be excited about that.
Yeah, and our on-base percentage is something we're way up there, and it's something we're stressing here this spring. We're not going to be the most powerful team in the world, but although we do have some power, but we want to get guys on base because we feel like in any inning with our lineup, we can score some runs, and we're going to have some protection all the way through.
Last question. I just want to ask you about that cleanup hole. Raul Ibanez was there today. Is he going to be there during the season, and why?
Well, we'll take a hard look at it. We go left, right, all the way down the lineup. Sometimes last year we got a little clogged up in the middle with Edgar in the 4-hole, and I told Raul, just hit like you normally do. Don't feel like the cleanup hitter. Our cleanup hitter's in the 5th spot this year, and he'll clean up the mess behind all you guys, and we want to get 4 guys a little swifter foot ahead of Edgar, and then have Edgar ready in that 5-hole, but we'll see how it plays out.
Bobby, we thank you for your time, man. Continued success.
Hey, good luck, Bob.
Appreciate it.
One out here in the top of the 6th inning. Walker with a breaking ball. This is just high. Even Boca Chica up at home plate right now. Danny Wilson still out there.
You can do a lot with that name. Hiram Boca Chica.
It's a fun name to say.
You got to get that name to the big leagues.
Just a little bit off the outside corner there. We've got Dan Wilson out there at second base. So 2-0. Again, Pierzynski trying to learn this new pitching staff. There's a pitch.
This really is the time of the game in which both managers get an opportunity to take a look at guys who are invited to camp, young guys, young prospects. Because as we were talking earlier, you never know when an injury creeps up in your pitching staff or in one of your outfielders or infielders. And if these guys can open up the eyes of the managers and keep their name on the tip of those tongues, they may be the first ones called upon.
I think more than ever nowadays, I'm seeing more people called up from Double-A than I ever did before. It used to be it was always the Triple-A guy, but you're exactly right. These guys impress somebody now. You go down there and get off to a good start in Double-A. I know that as a pitcher, all they wanted you to do was throw strikes. If you gave up fewer hits than innings and your walk count was way down, I mean, you were knocking on that door. What do they look for in a hitter?
Well, and for a hitter, it's the ability to consistently hit the ball solid. Show that you can consistently make hard, solid contact.
Bob Melvin talking about that on-base percentage. Boca Chica with the walk there. How important is that on-base percentage? It seems to be more talked about now than batting average.
Well, here's what it does for you. When you have a team that has the ability to walk, that doesn't chase a lot of bad pitches, one thing you're doing is you're getting that pitcher's pitch count up. So that starter may not go 7. He may only go 5 because of that pitch count. As well as on-base percentage means what? You have guys on base, which means now you're putting more pressure on the pitcher, on that defense, on the opposing team. And then hits like that help you.
Talk about pressure. Tucker charging the base hit. They are going to hold the runner up. Again, I'm sure that had a lot to do with this time of the year. You don't want to get your starting catcher, Dan Wilson, hurt. ESPN Spring Training Baseball presented by Miller High Life continues Monday as Albert Pujols and the St. Louis Cardinals take on Chipper Jones, leading the Atlanta Braves at 1 p.m. Eastern. For more on spring training, log on to ESPN.com. Braves are counting on a big year this year from a former Cardinal, J.D. Drew. Talk to me about Albert Pujols, David Justice.
You know, when you look at those numbers, you wonder how can he get much better? But they love him over in St. Louis. Tremendous work ethic, a great kid. Definitely the type of kid that you want to build a franchise around. That's why they gave him the contract. And someone that you want your young players in the minor leagues to emulate on the big league level.
Yes, so don't you think they should change the rule in the National League on that MVP? You ought to get a trophy if you finish second. I mean, Barry's been a ball hog on that thing. I mean, 6 of them, but 3 straight.
But we say the same thing about the All-Star game. There's so many guys that have not even been to the All-Star game, or maybe have only been once, that are All-Star players. You look at Rafael Palmeiro, never got the due that he was deserved. I mean, because at that first base position, there were so many tremendous All-Stars, and you can't take all the first basemen.
We were talking last week about Tim Sandler. Great player, All-Star player, but never been to an All-Star game.
Yeah, so I mean, when you want to start changing rules now, Sut, let's start changing that
well,
rule.
Hey, we've got control of the microphone now.
Hey, I got no problem taking about 40, 50 guys to the All-Star game. They all won't play, but at least they'll be recognized, in the intros as All-Stars.
We've got the bases loaded here in 1 out. A good ball game. Seattle trying to add to that lead. Maybe not though. Ground ball, possible double play. Ends up being absolutely nothing.
And see what happened there was the ball wasn't hit hard. So Ray Durham tried to quicken the process, and as a result, took his eye off of it. Knowing that Santiago has some pretty good speed, the only way you turn a double play on this is you have to get this ball immediately, quick, as fast as you can to the second baseman.
Boy, it's almost like he stayed back and took the hop that came to him rather than coming on in and getting a better hop to handle.
But you want to get all those out of your system in spring training. That's why you come down here. That's why you play the games. And you shore up any weaknesses that may be part of your game.
This is where you see, too, what Tyler Walker is made out of. Look at him rubbing that chest. Great camera shot there. We still got the bases loaded. We still only got 1 out. Mariners lead 6-3.
Get out of here.
Up. I don't know if it's going to stay in play or not. No, but it does not.
As a defensive player, anytime you make a miscue behind your pitcher, you feel so bad because you understand the pressure that you've just now put on him. Now you're causing him to make great pitches. You're causing him to get his pitch count up and just make it a lot tougher on your ball club too. So nobody feels worse than Ray Durham right now.
It even multiplies that toughness when you got Raul Ibanez at home plate. Here comes the pitch. Oh my goodness. Fastball in the inner half of the plate. That's that pitch again that we were talking about. That fastball in to most hitters. I mean, they can't keep it fair. Take a look at it. This is the same pitch that Bonds hit 2 home runs with.
But see, he pulls a foul. Now, this reminds me of the conversation I had with Greg Maddox, who used to tell me, if he throws a fastball inside and the hitter pulls it foul, he'll throw him another one in there. Pull that one foul too. Now we're no balls, 2 strikes. Now let's go to work. But Barry has the ability to keep that ball fair, which separates him from all the other good hitters in the league.
All right, you talk about he keeps his hands in. Explain that to my 10-year-old son.
Well, see, here it is you want to pull your hands in, but what guys have a tendency to do is on that ball, they come around the baseball. Anytime you come around a baseball, you're going to pull it foul. If a baseball's in front of you and you break it up into thirds, you want to hit the inner third of that ball. So if my hand is a baseball, and if the camera is a person at home, if you're a left-handed hitter, break it up into thirds. Barry is standing here. He wants to hit this part of the ball. If he hits this part of the ball and pushes his hands forward, he can keep that ball fair. But if he hits this part of the ball, he's come around it, and now he can't do nothing but pull it foul.
That's why the good pitch that Ibanez had to hit.
That's why he hit it foul, because he didn't hit the inner third of that ball. He didn't approach it to hit the inner third. He approached it to hit the outer third of it.
And a lot of people, correct me if I'm wrong, but they think by hitting the inside part of the baseball, you can't pull it. That is not correct.
Oh, no, that's not correct, because when you hit the inner third of the ball, even on inside, you're going to keep that ball fair as long as you keep your hands going forward. Do never ever think to hit a fastball inside and think to pull your hands to the right if you're left-handed or to the left if you're right-handed. You're going to pull the ball foul every time. But having said that, it's one of the toughest pitches in the game to keep fair. And that's why if you're a smart pitcher and you got a guy who could have tremendous bat speed but does not have the ability to keep the fastball inside fair, then go ahead and throw it to him. Sure. He'll pull it foul 450 feet, and everybody's going, wow, that's the strike.
You can even take a little bit off on that inside of the part of the plate. There's no... But we got it back.
But we're back.
Comeback players of the year.
They couldn't get rid of us.
One thing the Seattle Mariners have not been able to do is get rid of the San Francisco Giants. 8-5 is a ball game. Here, Seattle comes to bat in the top of the 8th inning. Nobody in attendance has left tonight. A couple of the everyday players have come out of the ball game. One of the guys coming on now looking to be a part of that San Francisco Giant bullpen is Scott Air. You look for a lot of games, you look for a low ERA, you look at a good season he had last year. Takes a swing at the first pitch. Strike one.
And if you look at the lefties that the Giants have brought to camp, Jason Christensen doing a great job this spring. Chad Zerbia as well. So they have 3 lefties. Normally teams don't carry 3 lefties, so someone has to be the odd man out, but all 3 of them are pitching great this spring.
Got to see Christensen a couple of days ago, and he looks to be mentally and physically over that surgery that he had. It's a nice problem to have that depth, and for some reason, some way, manager Brian Sabian, his assistant Ned Coletti, always just seem to have those people to step in when somebody's not able to go out there and perform physically.
But as we're saying, it's rare though that you see a team carry 3 lefties. But all 3 of these guys are actually pitching well.
You left-handed hitters would notice that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I know all the lefties in the pen. But then you take this mix of lefties and you put it with Jim Brower and Felix Rodriguez, and you get Rob Nean back and Matt Herges. That's a pretty good bullpen. So all you're asking your starting pitchers to do is basically give you 6 good innings.
You think about what has happened with the Giants bullpen this year. You take Nen out physically, you lose Tim Worrell, who was your closer, and you trade Joe Nathan, who led all of major leagues as far as bullpen wins were concerned with 12, and yet they still feel pretty confident about that position. And part of the reason here, Scott Air coming in with an easy first out here to start the top of the 8th inning. Bottom of the hour here, we are at Scottsdale Stadium in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm Rick Sutcliffe along with Dave Justice and Gary Miller down on the field. Excited to be a part of spring training baseball. Nothing better. Nothing more relaxed, not a better opportunity anywhere to get up close and personal with the players. Is there, Dave?
You can't get any closer than spring training. This is a beautiful day. This place is packed. You have people sitting out on the hillside, right center field, left center field. A lot of people came to this game today, but it's a beautiful day here in Scottsdale. And if you're just a fan of baseball and you've never had an opportunity to get close to the players, you want to come to spring training, especially here in Arizona. Because I don't think you can get any closer to the players than you do in spring training. Get your autographs, get an opportunity to talk to the players, and check out some good baseball as they all prepare for opening day.
As I look through the crowd and I see a lot of, it looks like fathers with their sons and things. What a great, if you've got a son and you want to get him interested in baseball, this is the best place to do it, because you can come out early in the afternoon and watch them practice. You can come out during the ball game. You see them walk to the parking lot, when the game's over with. Just an opportunity to come out here in that relaxed environment and talk baseball. It's almost to me as good as spending an afternoon golf.
Yeah, but you didn't mention the fact that you can also come early in the morning, and see him work out.
Yeah. Not much working out to do right now for the defense of San Francisco. Scott Air doing it all himself.
Number 12, Luis Ugueta.
And if this were to be the last out here in the top of the 8th inning, don't go anywhere, because we're not going anywhere. We're going to catch you up with everything that has happened to this point. Explain to you how Seattle got their 8 runs and how San Francisco got their 5, which means it will be another Barry Bonds highlight. Here comes the pitch. Good fastball. Count 0-1. Louis Ugueta up again. He came in earlier and replaced Brett Boone at second base. Good fastball on the inside corner.
And at this point, usually in spring training games, you have a lot of reserves, a lot of young prospects, a lot of guys that have been invited to camp, trying to make a name for themselves, trying to stay in the minds of the managers so that if someone has an injury or something happens, they're the first ones called up. These are important at-bats for all these guys.
Pretty important inning for Scott Air. If you're Felipe Alou, the manager of the Giants, and you're looking for a left-handed reliever, well, that was a pretty good performance there in the top of the 8th inning. Little highlight package as far as what happened today. It all got started in the very first inning. In the bottom of the first, Barry Bonds had not homered in spring training until then. That's 2-0 San Francisco. It's 3-2 Seattle, and then again in the bottom of the 4th inning. He did it again. He even did it better than he did the first time. We go to the 5th. Seattle trying to get back into the hunt. Scott Spezio doubles into the gap. Raul Ibanez touches home plate. Pedro Feliz. All he needs is a chance. They're going to try to get him 400 at-bats this year. If they do, some of them may end up like that. It was a double off the wall. 2 San Francisco Giant runners come in and touch home plate. And that puts us where we're at right now. Summarize it all up. You can see 11 hits for Seattle, 9 for San Francisco, 3 errors. Ryan Franklin with 5 good innings of work. Bonds with a great day. And again, Feliz trying to find a place in that San Francisco Giant lineup to where he can produce. They've kept him around, David, for a long time. He's a third baseman naturally, but when you bring Alfonso over here, you're not going to play there. The glue to their infield defense is JT Snow, hitting second. He's going to be there. He's playing the outfield corners. He played left field when Bonds got hurt last year, did well. And he's also playing some shortstop.
Well, he's a commodity to this team. He's a guy who can play third base, play shortstop, play first base, and he can swing the bat. So, and you got to understand, you're in the National League as well, which, because there's a lot of double switching, he's going to have an opportunity to play. But he's biding his time because JT Snow, only 1-year contract. So potentially, if they don't resign JT and they don't have anyone ready in the minor leagues, they may go with Pedro, depending on how well he does this year. But I always think it's a tough role when you play one day, then you get 3 days, you don't play, then the next day you play. It's tough to stay ready because you're not seeing pitches every day. But if he's able to perform well in that role, you never know what may happen. He may get an opportunity to get a lot of at-bats. And if he opens up enough eyes, you never know if they may make a change somewhere.
Terry Mulholland. How many times have you faced him in your career on the mound now to start the bottom of the 8th inning here for the Seattle Mariners? This guy's a warrior, isn't he?
He's been doing it for a long time. Rick, I think he pitched with you.
Many times. There's a base hit. And Pedro Feliz just continues to do things. Coming up now is Carlos Valderrama. Another one of those big league names.
Some of these guys have names. You got to get these names to the big leagues. Valderrama, Boca Chica. I like Boca Chica. That just has star written all over it.
I wouldn't like signing that autograph, though. There's a lot of letters.
I bet he probably just signs a B and then a straight line.
Mulholland always one of the tougher pitchers in baseball to run on. Look at that. I mean, that's a back full there. Be a great Scrabble word, wouldn't it? How many points would that be?
How long do you think it took him to learn how to spell his own name?
Oh.
At age 10, he still wasn't spelling his name right. I'm just saying it's possible.
It could be, yeah.
That's a lot of practice. You know, yeah. Kendall Gill had it easy. G-I-L.
Oh, my hero used to be Ron Say. I mean, come on, give me that
Can't
one
get
there.
it easier
No.
than Pete Rose. And all of a sudden, Valderrama.
Born Richard, I had more letters in my first name he did in his whole name. All right, Lunsford coming up now. Terry Mulholland with that cut fastball on the hands, something he's been doing. He's been out there for at least 15, 16 years. I've never heard a bad word from anybody about Mulholland. Maybe a few left-handed hitters that have tried to hit off of him, but I remember him back when he was with the Cubs in '98. They were that wild card team. I mean, what a warrior. You know, he'd go out there and throw a complete game one day, and he'd be in relief the next day or 2 days later.
At what point is enough though on your arm, though, Rick? I mean, you guys as pitchers have been throwing since you were, what, 6 years old? You know, at
I'll tell you what
point?
For me, with anybody I've ever talked to, is like you never lose that desire to play. Come on, I want to go out there and throw right now. I want to go out there. You know, you want to go out and hit. But what happens is you lose that desire to prepare to play. We all want to play, but you look at the shape that Mulholland's in right now. He hadn't gained 5 pounds.
But I'm saying the wear and tear on his arm, though. Not that his desire. He obviously has the desire to want to continue to play.
I think that's a gift from the Lord.
Okay.
I think we've seen guys that do all the exercises and do everything they're supposed to do. Their mechanics are perfect, but you know, they break down. Mulholland's just been one of those guys. Tremendous work ethic. One of those Steve Carlton guys, you know, that gets into the, what do? You dip down into the rice, you know, and you wiggle your hand around.
And being able to stay away from major injuries, you know, that have often curtailed a lot of careers.
Cody Ransom coming up now with 2 outs and man on first. Really nothing ever straight from Mulholland, is it?
No, nothing ever straight, and I think that's why he's been successful over these years. I mean, it doesn't matter in the major leagues how hard you throw. I always think of Matt Anderson throwing 100 miles an hour. If you throw it in the middle of the plate, Billy Koch can get up to 100. But Billy Koch gets hit hard if he's in the middle of the plate. You know, on this level, everyone can hit a fastball. It's location, and Terry Mulholland understands that you know, it's a matter of putting the ball in the corners consistently as you can. And he's been able to do it for a long time.
I remember Mike Harkey when he came up with the Cubs a few years ago. You know, Big Hark saying, "You don't let your kids play in the middle of the street, do you? You better not throw that baseball in the middle of the plate."
And you know, that's something that you know, young pitchers always should understand, because most pitchers, when they're young, they'll brag about how hard they throw. You know, young college kids, young high school kids, well, I'm throwing 94, 95. And the first thing I tell them when I meet a young kid like that, although I wasn't a pitcher, I've talked to you guys for so many years, I tell them, it's not how hard you throw. Focus on, if you're 95 in the middle, try to be 92 on the corners. You'll be much more successful.
Well, you saw a guy down in Atlanta throwing 86 to 82 named Greg Maddox that has won 15 games or more for 16 straight years now. A lot of different ways to get people out.
But it's hard to convince a lot of young pitchers that it's all about the location and not the velocity, because I think it is ingrained in young pitchers' minds as kids growing up. We're always talking about how hard a kid throws. In Little League or in junior high, no one's talking about the ability of a 13-year-old to locate.
Oh, get a ground ball.
Right, they're talking about, look how hard he throws.
There's a ground ball when you needed it. And that will end the bottom of the 8th inning. We'll go to the 9th with the Seattle Mariners still ahead. And speaking of young pitching, as far as maybe experience is concerned, Ryan Franklin just turning 30 years.
3 innings and throw all fastballs, all sinkers, just working on location. He could do that because if he was hit hard, he knew he was breaking camp with the team.
Didn't care about the result.
Didn't care about the results. It's not about results. It's about getting your work in, getting a comfort level with all your pitches so that when opening day hits, you're ready to roll into the season.
The guy trying to hit right now is Eric Owens. The guy he's going to try to get a hit off of is Felix Rodriguez, one of the most consistent, dominating setup men in baseball the last 3 or 4 years. Talk about a guy that knows his role, that's comfortable in it. I mean, you just never know where people are going to come from. I mean, Felix Rodriguez 8 years ago was a catcher in the Dodgers minor league system. Well, now you don't have a 6'5" tall, thin guy behind home plate, do you?
They did. But someone thought it was a good idea. I mean, you know what? He may not be hitting as well as we need him to hit, or his defensive skills aren't where we need him to be. So therefore, let's put him on the mound since he has a pretty good arm from throwing from behind home plate to second. And someone put him on the mound and taught him a couple pitches, and here we are, one of the best one of the best guys out of the bullpen come 7th, 8th inning in the game.
You know, that evaluating is so important, and just not talked about it as much as I think it should. When I look at what happened last year with the Chicago Cubs and Dusty Baker, no question the MVP of their team, Dusty, a former manager for Dave Righetti, the pitching coach with these Giants, but his ability to evaluate. A guy like Joe Borowski, bounced around, been everywhere, you might have played with him. All of a sudden, Dusty sees something in him. That wasn't luck. Dusty saw something in spring training like what you were talking about. He gave him the ball in the 9th inning. Borowski gave him the results.
And everyone loves playing for Dusty. Dusty doesn't.
I've got my reasons. You tell me why.
I'll tell you why, because I think Dusty, to me, Dusty is always there to pat you on the back when you're doing well. He's the first one out of the dugout just about whenever a guy hits a home run or makes a big out with a pitch. And he's also the first one there when you're scuffling, too. You always feel like Dusty has your back. You always feel like Dusty's in your corner, and not only as a manager, but also as somewhat of a father figure. Some guys as an uncle figure to some guys. He's always behind you.
Got those wristbands on, got the toothpick in the mouth.
He's ready to play. He wanted to pitch it himself. But guys love playing with Dusty, and you know, he's a smart man. And what he saw in Joe Borowski, maybe a lot of teams didn't see. But he gave Joe Borowski an opportunity, and he made the best of it. And he was one of the reasons why the Cubs were so successful last year.
Jose Lopez up. That'll be the second out of the inning. That pop up to shortstop. I remember a couple of years ago in the World Series with San Francisco against Anaheim, talking with Dusty about handling players like a Barry Bonds and now a Sammy Sosa. He talked about the most important lesson he ever learned. He learned in the Marine Corps. He learned in the service. He said it's all about the chain of command and how it starts at the top and it goes to the bottom. And to get to the top from the bottom, you have to take it a step at a time. None of this, you know, being a young player going right to the general manager with a complaint. It starts with the young players. They go to the veteran players. Then it goes to the superstars. Then I thought this was most important. It goes from there to the coaches. If Sammy Sosa's got a problem, don't bring it to Dusty. That's what coaches are for. Go to them. And a lot of times the problems before they even get to Dusty are able to be solved by a veteran player like yourself. You know, you had young players come to you with on the field, off the field problems, whatever it is. Managers can't be distracted with those problems all the time. They need help, don't they?
Well, sometimes if you have a good core of veterans, those problems never even get to the coaches.
Like both of these teams here today.
Yeah, because if you have some great veterans that have been around that have the respect already in the clubhouse, you know, they can handle any of the little skirmishes, any little problems. That's why it's so important to have some quality veterans on your ball club.
I remember Joe Torre years ago talking about Joe Girardi, David Cohn, and Chili Davis. Doing those same kind of things with those Yankee ball club. Felix Rodriguez on the mound. 2 quick outs here already in the top of the 9th inning. Giants are going to get an opportunity to hit in the bottom of the 9th. I don't know who's going to pitch for. See out on the ball tonight. Maybe Mulholland will go back out there. Speaking of going back up the middle, there's a base hit. And that will bring up Jamal Strong in center field out there this afternoon.
Now, would you have caught that, son? That ball came pretty hard back up through the middle. Were you one of those kind of guys that would put the glove down, or you just trying not to get hurt?
You see a lot of things on my mantle, dust, and you don't see any gold gloves out there. You know, I would have kicked at it, though. You know, I don't want to get stupid. I mean, I got jammed thumbs and bruises on from, you know, you always try to knock it down. You know, if it gets by you, there's nobody there. I mean, it's going to get to center field. So you got to try to knock it down at some point. Take a look at it here one more time.
And you see, you tell hitters, hit it back at the pitcher.
Kick it. See, did you see how he spread? You can't spread your legs there. You got to put them together.
Yeah, but
spring training.
I know he didn't want any part of that ball.
Strong taking a pitch. That'll leave the count at 1-1. 3 errors by the Giants today. You don't see a whole lot of activity in that error column up there on the scoreboard when either one of these two teams play. It is spring training. A couple of weeks left. Or you can just, that bell's about to ring, isn't it?
And the closer it gets, the more exciting things seem to get. There's nothing like opening day. I mean, every year you get the same goosebumps. You know, when they call you out onto the first base line or the third base line, and just looking up at the fans, the start of a whole new season is always very exciting.
You almost feel like a rock star, don't you?
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
exciting.
It's like for one day, you know, you get to be Bruce Springsteen. You know they're going to cheer.
And, you know, I used to always hope that we had 2 opening days. I want to be the opening day in the opposing stadium and at home, so we get to run out on the line.
Well, that's a whole other thing in an opposing stadium, though. You know, there the biggest compliment you can get is to have them boo you. That means they're scared of you. I know you got. I think I booed you a few times. We're going to be right back. 8-5 Seattle as we head to the bottom of the ninth.
I always said I was going to be playing professional baseball. You know, that's all I ever talked about. The thing that means most to me is I want to be remembered as a Yankee. You either love us or hate us. I mean, I enjoy playing at home in front of the greatest fans in the world. And I also enjoy going on the road, people booing us and hating us. The bottom line is when you compete, you want to win. I live for this.
Get ready. Major League Baseball's 2004 opening day is coming.
Stand-up double. Brian Delamore is coming up to home plate right now. Talking about that last spot that's possibly going to be open. We've seen all 3 of them today. Todd Linden came in to replace Barry Bonds. Nathan Haynes, who's also in the lineup, and along with Ellison. None of them really hurt their chances, but David, you've been that young outfielder knocking on the door. I mean, you got to be a little bit nervous.
Oh, no doubt about it, especially when it's only one spot. I was fortunate that when it was my time, it was my time. All the times when I went to the spring training when I was very young, I knew that I wasn't going to make the team. These guys, as you said, are right on the cusp of making it. They got a chance of making it. When I finally came to the big leagues, I knew it was my time. They basically told me it was my time. But it's great just to have these young ball players get some experience. A major league feel in spring training. Get in the clubhouse, get around the veterans. You know, learn some of the nuances of what it means to be a big leaguer and what they do. It can only help them if they're not able to make the team to go down to AAA. You know, and just remember how spring training was and work hard, because that's where you want to play. This is where you want to play, the major leagues, not in the minor leagues. This is where it's at in the major leagues. So this experience, I think, is great for all these guys.
How about those times where you rented an apartment in AAA? Right about now is where you're looking for that apartment, hoping that you don't need it, knowing that you're going to lose a security deposit. But, hey, you know what? That's money well spent. That's also a real nice play on the part of Seattle Mariners shortstop. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Get ready, fans. Opening day is just a couple of weeks away on ESPN and ESPN2. Francisco Santos. I think he's leading the whole world in spring training at bats this year. He's on for his second at-bat of the day. Replaced JT Snow earlier. Young first baseman for the Giants. His job to get on deck. One of the guys that we also mentioned, Nathan Haynes, in the on-deck circle, would represent that tie-in run. Mulholland checks the runner at second. Ball's hit hard. Wow, what a nice play. And up with it for the second out. Louis Ugetto.
Showing some range, too.
Santiago's had an outstanding day. You talk about two guys looking for that utility. That can't help that left wrist any, can it?
Yeah, I saw that, and he was fortunate that he didn't roll over it and hurt himself. But that was an outstanding play. Showed a lot of range.
Mulholland trying to finish things off. The guy he is facing right now is Nathan Hayne. And another guy in that mix, a switch hitter we've talked about earlier, Todd Linden. All three of these guys involved in action right now. And possibly one of those guys that's going to get that ovation opening day, being the 25th man on that roster.
And whichever one, may not get the call, no reason to sulk. Go down to AAA and keep working on your game. Go down there with a lot of enthusiasm, work hard, play hard, because there's always a chance for that phone call. And you want to be ready if you're called upon.
This looks like the same Terry Mulholland we saw 5 years ago. His velocity's been good, mid to upper 80s. You know he's going to throw strikes. You know you can't run on him.
He just doesn't look to see. It doesn't seem like he's changed a lot of his mechanics and anything. Like you say, it looks like the same guy 5-6 years ago.
There's a fly ball down the left field line. Eric Owens to the line. He's got it. Terry Mulholland coming on to throw a scoreless 8th inning and a scoreless 9th inning. Well, David Justice, it's been a pleasure. What'd you see today between these two ball clubs?
Well, what I saw are two teams that need to be reckoned with come the start of the season. Seattle's going to be a pretty good team. They've got the pitching. They've got some hitters. I look for San Francisco to be the team to beat in the National League West.